Hello learners, welcome to this video lesson. Today we are going to discuss one of the topic of your course. Course code is BESC131 Education Concept, Nature and Perspectives. And in this course, in the first module, today we are going to discuss the first video lesson. The title of the video lesson is Education, Concept and Nature. Before starting our discussion, let me to introduce myself. I Dr. Niradhar De, Associate Professor, School of Education, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Welcome you all to this video lesson. Let us go forward. This is presently we are in the first module of your online course, and in this module you will find three different video lessons are there. First video lesson is Education, Concept and Nature. Second video lesson is aim of education, that is individual aim of education, social aim of education and democratic aim of education. And the third video lesson is education as differentiated from schooling, learning, instruction, training, teaching and indoctrination. What is the concept of schooling, the concept of learning, instruction, training, teaching and indoctrination we will discuss in the third video lesson. So friends, now let us focus upon our first video lesson, that is education, its concept and nature. Let us go forward. Before starting our discussion, let me to focus upon certain learning outcomes and we will try to achieve these learning outcomes in our deliberation. First of all, after going through this video lesson, you will be able to define education with its etymological derivations. Further, you will be able to explain the meaning of education as defined by different educationists and philosophers. It may be Eastern educationist and it may be a Western educationist. Then further, the video lesson will be able to explain the concept of narrow and broader meaning of education, and you will be able to discuss the nature of education as deduced from different educationists. We will try to achieve these learning outcomes after going through detailed deliberation of this video lesson. Now let us come forward to understand the etymological derivation of education. The word education has been derived from the Latin words, that is educare, educere and educatum. Here you see I am just saying three different terms, that is educare, educere and educatum. Let us try to understand what is the meaning of this Latin word educare, then educere, then educatum. Educare means nourish or to bring up. This is to nourish the individual child and to bring up the individual child. And second, educere means to lead forth or to draw out. We will further analyze that what is the meaning of it. Further, educatum is composed of two terms, that is E and deco. E means a movement from inward to outward and deco means developing or progressing. Further, in Sanskrit, education comes from the words that is Shiksha and Vidya. Let us try to understand the meaning of Shiksha and the meaning of Vidya. Shiksha means to control or to discipline and Vidya means to know. So friends, if I will consolidate, if I will analyze the etymological derivations of education, we will reach at this point to conceptualize the term education, conceptualize the concept of education, that is education nourishes or brings up the children from complete development of their personality. So friends, here we are focusing upon complete development of the personality of the individual child. So it may be physical development of individual child, it may be social development, it may be intellectual development or mental development, it may be development in attitude, development in values. So all types of development when it occurs, that we can say that is the development of the total personality. So education nourishes, education helps the individual child for their nourishment and it brings up the children for complete development of their personality. This is not a partly development. You can't say that only physical development, if only physical development occurs, that is the complete development, you can't say. So, with the physical development, mental development should be there, social development should be there, and other development, spiritual development, emotional development should also be there. This is one of the concept of education when we analyze the etymological derivation, and further education can lead the children from ignorance to knowledge. So, what education really does? Education leads the children from ignorance to knowledge, from darkness to light. That means the children whatever what they have not understand or what they have not known, education helps them to bring them from the ignorance to knowledge. And further to analyze the etymological derivation of education, we can say that education can help the children to develop and express their inward abilities. So, here every individual child is having certain abilities. Okay? They have the power to construct their own experiences, to construct their own knowledge, to construct their own understanding. So, that is why we can say that the individual child, they do not know about the happenings of this world, they do not know what is going on in our immediate environment, or at the same time we can say that they do not know what is going on in the family, in the school, in the society. Okay, so that is why every individual is having their own abilities, that is called as the inward abilities. So, here education help the children to develop and express their inward abilities. So, whatever you can say potential abilities they are having, it may be you can say relating to their different mental traits, related to their you can say intelligence, related to their attitude, to their creativity, aptitude. So, here education helps the child for their inward for the development of their inward abilities. And further, another meaning of education that we can analyze from the etymological derivation of education, that is education provides the children knowledge and makes them disciplined. Okay. So, here it definitely it provides knowledge, it provides understanding, and it also helps the individual child to apply new knowledge in different situations, and at the same time it also makes the individual child discipline. So, these are the certain meaning that has emerged from the etymological derivation of education. Now, let us try to understand the definitions of education given by Indian and Western thinkers, and further we will try to critically analyze the definitions of education, and we will try to emerge certain meanings from the definitions of education given by Indian and Western thinkers and philosophers. As per Mahatma Gandhi says education is the all-round drawing out of the best in a child and man, body, mind and spirit. So, here you see development in three different aspects as per Mahatma Gandhi. He has given importance for the you can say development in body, that means physical development, development in mind, that is the intellectual development, and development of spirit, that is the spiritual development. So, Gandhiji says about you can say all round development of the personality of the individual child. And further, as per Swami Vivekananda says education is the manifestation of divine perfection already existing in man. That means the supreme soul or the divine has given certain power to the individual child, and education manifests that power, manifests that divine perfection. Okay. And if I will go through definitions of education given by Rabindranath Tagore, as per Rabindranath Tagore, the highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. This is not only to give certain knowledge and information to the child, rather to develop rather for the harmonious development of the human existence. This is not only for the development of the individual, rather this is for the development of the you can say human nation, or development of the entire universe, you can say. Further, as per Sri Aurobindo says education which will offer the tools whereby one can live for the divine, for the country, for oneself and for others, and this must be the ideal of every school which calls itself national. So friends, here education is for this is for live for the divine, this is for the country, that is live for the country, and this is for live for oneself also. It means Sri Aurobindo has given importance for individual development, for the development of the nation, for the development of the country. This is also a type of, you can say, he has given importance upon the total development of individual personality as per the Indian thinkers. Now let us focus upon some of the Western thinkers for they define education. As per Plato says that education is the capacity to feel pleasure and pain at the right moment. So education helps the individual to feel pleasure and pain at the right moment. That means how to adjust in a situation. Education prompt us, education make us you can say trained that how to behave in different situations, and how to you can say understand the situation, then accordingly how to behave. As per Aristotle says that education is the creation of a sound mind in a sound body. So here also both the aspects are given importance. First that is the development of mind, and second that is the development of the body. So only one development or only development of the body is not enough, rather with the development of the body there should be the development of the mind. Then after we can say that it is the education. And as per Pestalozzi says that education is the natural, harmonious and progressive development of man's innate power. So friends, the innate power, the potential power of the individual, of the human child. So what education does? Education is the natural, harmonious and progressive development. Education develops for the natural development of the individual, for the harmonious development of the individual, at the same time for the progressive development of the individual child. So three types of development education does, that is natural development, harmonious development, at the same time progressive development. And as per Rousseau says, we all know that Rousseau is a naturalist philosopher, and as per Rousseau defines education is the child's development from within. Within means the innate abilities, the innate power, development of the innate power of the individual. And further, as per the John Dewey is considered as the pragmatic philosopher. John Dewey says education is the process of living through a continuous reconstruction of experiences. It means every moment, every day, we reconstruct our experiences. We get new experiences, and from our new experiences, we just reconstruct the we change our earlier attitude, we change our earlier behavior, and accordingly we accept the changes. So that's why change is the call of nature. So that's why change is the natural process of the nature. So as per John Dewey, education is the process of living through a continuous reconstruction of experiences. The much experiences we will gain, individual child will mature, and accordingly they will construct their own knowledge. So friends, after going through Indian and Western philosophers' definitions on education, now let us try to characterize education derived from the definitions given by the great educationist. First of all, if I will analyze the definitions given by both Indian and Western philosophers, we can reach at the point to characterize education, that is, education makes the individual selfless, self-reliant and liberated from worldly bondage. Education is something spiritual in nature. Education is something more than the worldly object, the worldly things and the worldly bondage that every day we are doing. So it is something different, it is something spiritual, and you can say it is something abstract in nature, and that one can feel when the individual will introspect and when the individual will develop his thinking process to understand education. And further, education makes the individual realize the divine and work spiritually, to realize the divine and to realize the divine soul and the perfection and the knowledge, the wisdom that we have received from the divine soul. Okay? And it also helps to work spiritually, to live spiritually. Further, education trains individuals for the country and inculcates in them love for the nation. Education helps individual to love the country, to contribute for the country, to live for the country, and to bring development for the country and development for the nation. And further, education makes our life in harmony with all existence. Okay? We have to live with harmony with our environment, with our society, with our civilization. Further, the other meanings that deduced from the definitions given by Indian and Western philosophers, that is, education prepares oneself for the society as well as for the country. So education prepares individual for the development of the society, at the same time for the development of the country. Then education helps individuals to adjust in new situations. I have already said that it is the power of education that helps the individual to adjust in new situations. Then education helps individuals to live through continuous reconstruction of new experiences. Every day when we come contact with our societal member, come contact with the peers, with the friends, with our immediate environment, with our society, we gain new experiences. We reconstruct our new experiences. So that's why we gain a new knowledge basing upon the old experiences and the old knowledge that already we have received. So that's why this is also another meaning of education. And further, we can say education is the natural, progressive and harmonious development of individuals development in body, mind and spirit. So Gandhiji says that education is for all-round development of a human child. So that's why development in a single aspect we cannot say that complete development happens. So education makes the individual child for harmonious development, for total development of body, mind and spirit. Now let us try to understand the narrow and broader meaning of education. What is the concept of narrow meaning of education and what is the concept of broader meaning of education? You see, if I will focus upon first narrow meaning of education, here education receives from the only formal system of schooling, a formal system of education, that is, you can say education that we receive from the school, colleges and universities. It's come under the narrow meaning of education, narrow concept of education. But education receives from all the different forms of education, that is from all the different systems of education, that is from the formal system of education, non-formal system of education and informal system of education is come under the broader meaning of education. It is not only possible that knowledge is received only from the formal system, only from the schooling, only from the school, college or the university. Rather, in our life experiences, when we come contact with different people, when we visit, when we travel, we also gain much experiences. And further, the other meaning of narrow meaning of education, that is, it is mostly based upon acquisition of knowledge, reproduction of knowledge and certification. So here in school, what we do, we just acquire knowledge and at a time we reproduce knowledge and we get a formal certification. This is just the narrow meaning of education. But broader meaning of education, that is, education prepares for living one's life and developing life skills and competencies. So how to live in this world, how to live in this society. It teaches us and it trains us about life skills. We acquire life skills and we practice life skills. So that is education as per the broader meaning. Further, in narrow meaning, we can say that it is mostly curriculum based, just like you are taking admission in a program and you are just completing that program maybe within 1 year, maybe within 2 years, it may be a bachelor or it may be a master program. But in broader meaning of education, it is based upon experiences from different means, different modes and different methods. So, varieties of methods, different mode, it may be face to face, it may be open and distance learning, it may be online, and it may be from by using any means, by coming in contact with any person we gain certain knowledge. So, that is the broader meaning of education, and further we can say students get very less scope to exhibit themselves in a narrow concept of education. But in the broader meaning of education, here you will find that education is mostly child centered in nature and it is activity oriented. Further, in narrow meaning of education, we can say that we consider that knowledge is fixed, just like in the school there is a fixed curriculum and you have to study that curriculum and you have to appear the exam and you will get a certification. But so far as broader meaning of education, here we can say that knowledge is reconstructed, knowledge is constructed and reconstructed. So, here the child is having the ability to reconstruct their knowledge. So, we can't say that there is a fix in knowledge. And further, as per narrow meaning of education, we can say that a single agency that is responsible for the narrow meaning of education, that is school. The knowledge that provides by the school, we call that it is the narrow meaning of education. But when we come contact with all the other agencies, just like education is possible through multiple agencies like school, family, society, media, state, etc. So, when we include all these medias, then we can say that it is the broader meaning of education. After understanding the concept of narrow and broader meaning of education, now let us go forward to understand what is the nature of education. First of all, I can say that education is a lifelong process so far as nature of education is concerned. The beginning of education, it starts from the very birth of individual child and it continues till the death. So, that is why the process of education, it starts from cradle to grave, that means from the birth to death. So, that is why we can say that this is a lifelong process. So, that is why at every stage, from any person, from any situation, there is the opportunity, there is the scope to gain certain knowledge, to gain certain experiences, and further that knowledge and experiences will help the individual child for living their life. And further, we can say that education brings development of the country. Education is not for individual development alone, rather this is for the social development and ultimately this is for the development of the nation and for the development of the country. This is another nature of education. And further we can say that so far as the nature of education is concerned, education is not a bipolar process, rather we can say that education is a tripolar process. So, here you see on your screen, teacher, student and society are three different poles in education. So, when student interact with the teacher and come contact with the society, come contact with our culture, our custom, our tradition, come contact with different groups of the society, come contact with the peer, he or she learns a lot. Okay, so that is why only knowledge that is possible from the school is not enough, rather with the knowledge that we get from the school, when we come contact with the society, with our environment, we also gain much experiences, much knowledge, and that helps us for developing our life, for living our life. So, that is why we can say that education is a tripolar process. That means it is possible, knowledge is possible, understanding is possible, experiences as possible when we interact with our teacher in the schooling system, at the same time when we come contact with our society. And for the other nature of education, just like education brings all-round development of the personality. Education is not only a development of a single aspect of the individual, just like I have earlier discussed that education is not only for physical development or for mental development or for spiritual development or for emotional development. Rather, when all types of development will happen, we can say that all-round development of the personality that has been occurred. So, many educationists, it may be Indian or Western, they have also given importance upon all-round development of the personality of the child. So, here development of mental traits, attributes, development of different aspect of our mental, social, emotional and physical development, then we can say that yes, development has taken place in the all-round aspect of the human child. And another nature of education, that we can say that education prepares individual to live their life. Education helps to develop, to understand the life skill, at the same time to practice the life skill. So, it fits, it prepares the individual to live their life, and further education prepares citizens for the country. So, it prepares citizens for the country, those will work for the country, those will bring for the development of the country. Okay. And education, another nature of education, that is education is a systematic process. Education is not a haphazard process. Okay. So, there is a system, you can give the example of school education, you can give the example of higher education, you can give the example of technical education, teacher education. You will find that a definite process, a definite system that are being adopted in the school. Okay. So, to teach a subject in a particular subject, to teach a topic in a particular subject, we also follow a system, we also follow certain method, we also follow certain process. So, that is why education is not at all a haphazard process, rather it is a systematic process. And further, lastly we can say that education is an art as well as a science. We consider that the process of education is an art as well as a science. Let me to give one example how education is an art and as a science. Education as an art, that means you must have realized that when your teacher is teaching to you, you will find that all teachers are not teaching in the same style. Okay, the style of teaching, style of articulating a particular concept, giving or providing a right illustration, provide a right example, and to involve students in the process of teaching and learning. You will find that the art of teaching is different, and different teacher practice it differently. You must have experienced that. You can say you follow hardly to few teachers, those have really touched to your mind, those have really touched to your heart because of their articulation, because of their style of teaching, because of their language, because of their examples and illustrations. But at the same time, we can say that education as a science. It means to teach a particular subject, you will find that certain systematic process, certain principles, certain laws, certain theories are followed. Just like to teach mathematics, we use a particular types of method. It may be inductive method, it may be deductive method, it may be problem solving method. To teach social science, we use discussion method, we use narration cum discussion method, we use demonstration method. Accordingly, to teach science, mostly we use experimental method, demonstration method. So, friends, to recapitulate, today we discussed about the concept and nature of education. We start our discussion to understand the etymological meaning of education, and further we discussed about the concept of education given by, or the definitions of education given by Indian and Western educationists, and further we analyze the definitions given by Indian and Western educationists, and further we discussed about the concept of narrow and broader meaning of education, and we also discussed about nature of education. In our next lesson, we will discuss different aim of education, individual, social and democratic aim of education. Thank you.